billboards. And then I transitioned to network radio. And more than likely, if you've never purchased network radio, you don't know what network radio is, and that's totally fine because it's one of those kind of unknowns. I had a specialty in agribusiness. In addition to state government and associations, I worked on the state news product as well as the agribusiness news product. And after 20 years of selling media and marketing products, I had a former coworker who I mentored in sales for many, many years, who is now in charge of their own sales team at a marketing shop that was associated with a print firm. And she said, they keep telling me that they want to clone me. And I said, well, you know, certainly you're able to be clonable. And she goes, I'm only clonable if you can come in and do for my team what you did for me. And she said, I will be your absolute very first client. You were born to do this. And that was the start and birth of my sales coaching company. Now I actually have spent a good majority of my career working with media firms, marketing firms, web development firms. I've worked for a specialty handmade card company. I've done some intensive research for Walton Family Foundation funded grants in the agribusiness industry. I'm having a blast, but one of my skill sets is being able to think like a client. And so I can flip the script a bit in the sales process to help you think like a client as well. So anytime you're interacting with your customers and your clients, you can have their perspective to get them to the place of closing the deal. Does that sound like a good plan? Thumbs up if you're not unmuted. All right. I am going to share my screen. Give me just a smidge of a second. There's me in full view. Not that that matters, but if you want to take a screenshot, you'll also get some contact info through Terry and the team after this is over. I call myself Chief Sales Strategist, but I kind of feel like I'm more of an empowerment coach. I want to be able to take my sales power and transition it to you. I'm not teaching you how to be me. I'm teaching you how to be a better you in whatever touch point that you might have with the client. I already gave you a bit of a look into my resume, but here is the fast forwarded visual. DMEX graphic arts degree, Grandview College in marketing, fundraising, and financial aid. And then I spent a stint of my career with Clear Channel Outdoor where I got a Salesperson of the Year title for 2 years in a row. Small story, just so you know a bit more about me. I met my husband on the internet when internet dating was still brand spanking new. And my face was on a billboard for Salesperson of the Year. And so I wouldn't put my picture out there. I didn't want people to connect where I worked and what I look like. And so when I knew he wasn't a creep and we had connected on the phone, I sent him on a goose chase and told him that if he wanted to know what I did for a living and what I looked like, he needed to go drive down Beaver and Douglas and look up. And my face was 48 feet. It was a 14 by 48 foot billboard. And my smile, my teeth were 6 foot wide. He honestly drove past the billboard multiple times, thought maybe my face was on a park bench. He immediately was slapped upside the head because then that means that billboards didn't work the same way that I intended them to work, but that's an argument that we settled a long time ago. You'll notice I have a lot of history with AAF. I spent a huge chunk of my career sitting in every single board seat for the AAF of Des Moines, including the transition from the advertising professionals of Des Moines to the official AAF Des Moines brand. And I was able to secure the coveted President of the Year and Club of the Year award, which is still an achievement that I hold near and dear to my heart because, as you know, if you volunteered, I love the organization. I love people in media and marketing and the ad agency world. And so it was an absolute blast. You'll see the start of my company began in 2018. All right, so here's the agenda. You are going to learn, and you're going to learn a lot. And you will be interacting, and you're interacting with me because I want you to enjoy and have fun, and I want you to have a ton of takeaways. Now, we're gonna stop sharing my screen in just a second to do a little game called the Hello ABCs. So prepare yourself to participate. A, reason for attending. I would like that to be authentic. Your role in business. Please be bold. And what kind of customers do you interact with? And keep it concise. The rules of the game: 3 statements, 30 seconds or less. I know some of you are panicking and I haven't even stopped sharing my computer yet. All right. I will model this for you. All right. I'm attending today because I want to share some of my expertise with you and help you be better when you're interacting with your clients and to be able to secure even more sales. My role is as a coach, and I coach to equip and empower because I want you to be the best that you absolutely can be. And I work with a whole variety of customers. I absolutely love to work with business owners who have never had their own sales team, and I want to transition their talent into the next generation. I love to work with established sales team that need to hone and get better in their skills. And I like to work with the brand new teams that are just kind of getting up and running and crawling. Plus, I have a little bit of that agribusiness brain that I bring to the table every once in a while. That was more than likely 20 seconds. I'm going to give you 30 seconds, and I'm not a total jerk. I'm going to give you 1 minute to prepare. Grab a pen and a paper. 1 minute to prepare. It's going to be awkward while we all sit here in silence. And then we're going to go through absolutely every person, whether it's on camera, ideally, or verbally. We're going to hear everybody's ABCs. Take yourself off mute. Give me an A-OK. Yes, yes?
Sounds good.
Yeah, sounds great.
All right. 1 minute. Go. Hey, David, you're going to be our timekeeper. Deal? You're going to give them the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay?
Got it.
All right. 1 minute.
Timer.
Thank you.
Jen, it might be helpful to actually put that back up so people can walk through those 3 steps.
Got it.
So Lauren nodding her head, so we're on the right track.
Reason for attending.
I already forgot step 3, so I needed it.
No worry. Reason for attending: your role in business and the kind of customers you connect with. 3 statements, 30 seconds or less. It will not be a game for how fast you can get it done, but there may be punishments if you go over 30 seconds. I'm just kidding. I'll stop talking. You have 30 more seconds to prep.
That was a minute apparently.
Woo!
That went quick.
All right. Are we ready? All right, so this is going to go, I'm not sure the order that you guys have it across your screen, but we are going to go from my right over. And to my right is David Lemp.
Great.
David, you are up.
Didn't quite finish yet, but we'll go. What do you got? I'm here to learn from everyone today and learn to ask better questions. I love to get the root of every problem so that I can help my clients grow. And my clients are clients who realize that their customers are in front of all digital media.
All right. Can we give him a round of applause? Virtual clap. Fantastic. Daryl, you are next. And Jenna, you're on the dock. Daryl.
I too, after reading your profile, decided that this would be a great learning session for me to figure out how to engage better with my clients, to ask better questions, to develop better strategy for them, and figure out what goals they actually want to succeed and how to move their needle. I am the creative director at Clark Creative Group. So my job is to develop that creative strategy to help with that messaging. And the clients I like to work with are visionary creative collaborators.
Fantastic. Daryl's round of applause. Everybody. Fantastic. Thank you, Daryl. Next up, Jenna. Chris, you're on the docket. Jenna.
All right, so I wanted to attend today to learn more about just new ways of thinking and being able to present ideas and insights to my clients to push them in the right direction of meeting business goals or objectives. I'm a client advocate, so everything that we are recommending and doing internally at the agency I work for is to match those goals and expectations and know that everything that we are bringing to the table can get them pushed in that right direction, whether it's something new or just thinking of something in a new way. What if they've had media running there before or are looking to redo a new that same execution. And then the clients that I work with span across a variety of industries, nonprofit, healthcare, education. But I really like working with ones that are looking to do more and inspire the outside of the norm.
Fantastic. And what company is that?
I work at Bozell.
Fantastic. And I'm assuming that you're in media?
I'm an account executive, actually.
Account AE. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you, Jenna's celebration. Awesome. All right. Chris, you're next. Cassie, you will soon follow. Chris, my friend.
Hello.
All right.
Hello.
Yes,
Whoa.
Chris.
Two Chris's.
Let's
Which one?
do Chris LaCroix, right? Is it LaCroix?
Yep, you got
We'll
it.
do Chris L, LaCroix. Oh, you're another Chris L. You're Linville. All right. LaCroix first, Linville second. Deal?
Deal.
Deal. All right.
So my reason for attending is you looked interesting, and also Daryl guilted me into not coming into enough of these. So I'm here for two reasons today.
So,
The role of my business, I 5-6 months ago left my job. So my role is kind of everything: sales, design, development. I'm just, I guess, kind of a partner in crime, or a partner to just the clients I serve, and helping them in a variety of facets, and just help them with what they don't understand or what they're not good at. My favorite kind of customers, especially now that I'm on my own and I don't have to charge $20,000 for something, is smaller businesses where I have a lot of communication directly with the decision maker. That's kind of a breath of fresh air. It makes things easier when you're dealing with directly. Well, you always deal with someone directly in charge, but not having to go through a contact person's cool. And giving them a level of service they probably don't get or couldn't afford with a bigger company. And I also like doing nonprofit work because it matters.
yay! All right, Chris. Thank you. Visual appreciation. All right, Linville, you're up. And Cassie, you'll follow Chris Linville. Deal? All right.
Hello. I am
Hello.
here because Jennifer speaks my language. I'm
Yay.
radio sales, so I get where she's coming from and know that I will pick up a number of tips today. I present a variety of audio and digital solutions to amplify brands is my daily activity. And I work with a variety of people, including business owners, marketing reps, media buyers, and I love the diverse group of people that I get to work with every single day.
Fantastic. Thank you, Chris. All right. Cassie's next with Aaron to follow. Cassie, hit it, girl. Hello.
I am here to learn, just as everyone else. I think learning how to ask better questions will help me really in everything I do. I am a sales manager for KETV, so I have a staff of TV and digital AEs. I would say that they are my clients in addition to all of the clients that our station works with. So anything that I can do to help improve my understanding of where they're at, where their clients are at, and just individual people, you learn a lot about people by asking questions. I think all of those things are very beneficial.
Fantastic. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Cassie. All right, Erin, with, I have LRock, but I don't know your first name. You're
Okay,
next.
so
Stage name.
All right, Erin first, LRock's next. All right.
sure. So I think I'm here for some of the same reasons as other people. I like to learn. I feel like I can always take something away from speakers. So I try to, want to try to attend as many as possible, especially if it's something that has to do with, helping clients solve problems and ask good questions and those kind of things. My role is brand and design strategist. So that's my job, is to help people solve problems. The types of clients that I like to work with are open-minded clients that don't think they have it already figured out and want kind of a creative and unique solution to their problem.
Fantastic. Thank you, Erin. LRock.
I'm Lauren Rock. My reason for
Lauren.
attending is that I am new to AAF, the AAF board, so I am trying to take advantage of any and all learning opportunities that they offer, so that is my authentic answer. I am a
Okay.
senior account executive with RCG Advertising in Media. I am the pivot point. I have direct contact with the client, and I am the pivot point between the client, creative teams, and our media team. So trying to identify what problem that client is trying to solve, and then work with our creative teams and media teams to develop and implement a strategy. In terms of clients, we have a saying here at RCG that we help the good guys win. So we help those good guys, and whatever winning means to them, we help them define that, and we help to identify marketing strategies and solutions to help them win, whatever that looks like.
Fantastic. Thank you, Lauren. All right. Is it Bridget? Is that okay? Bridget, you're next. And Terry, are you participating?
I will participate, this is Terry.
Yay. All right. Bridget, you're first.
Okay, I'm here like everyone else to learn from the experts. Jennifer, we have similar backgrounds. I sold billboards for 15 years, actually, for Lamar, so we were competitors, as well as I've sold radio and TV in the Omaha market for too many years that I even want to mention, because then I date myself. So I'm here because I always like to listen in and learn from the experts. I am an account manager for 3 stations, Radio Lobo, Telemundo TV, and News Channel Nebraska. We offer television, radio, and digital platforms. And the clients that I work with are business owners, decision makers, agencies, buyers, account managers, in all forms of media and creative. And my role, and the reason why I love my job and have been doing it for so long, is I like to help them solve problems and achieve success with their business solution.
Thank you very much. All right. Who is next? Terry with Ginny to follow. Hey, Ginny, nice to see you officially. Hope lunch was good. Terry, it's you.
Okay, I'm up. I'm here today in staff capacity, but more so I'm here to learn and gather better information for strategies. I work every day with a group of dedicated volunteers, members and non-members of AF Omaha. I am their executive director. I think I know everybody on the call today. I interact, like I said, daily with members and non-members, and so learning new sales strategies for building relationships with non-members is of particular interest to me, and I think I can take your goals tools and experiences and grow with that. My every day is a tapestry bag of goals to achieve. And so I want to add to my tool bag.
Fantastic. Thank you, Terry. All right, Ginny up with Ann to follow. All right, Ginny, floor is yours.
Well, like what most people have said on this call today, to learn. And I always think it's interesting when we do something like this to hear what the other members of AAF, what their goals are and what they are trying to learn. I am Director of Media Services at Anderson Partners, so I do all things media. My clients are my vendors, who I have 3 on the call also today. So what I like is, working with them, working with our clients to put together a big picture of media, and it's like a puzzle, which I absolutely love to do. So I've been doing this kind of like, Bridge and I kind of started sort of together at the same station. So it's nice that I get to work with her again after and see how everything, comes together after so many years. So that's me.
Wonderful. Thank you very, very much. And then Lisa Conklin, turn your camera on, darling. I see you. All right. Anne, I know you don't have video, but do you have audio?
Oh, do you want Lisa to talk or Anne? Anne's out just for a minute.
Anne, then Lisa. Anne, are you there?
We'll go with Lisa. Anne had to step away just for a minute.
Sounds good. That would help if I monitor chat.
No worries, we're good. I got that.
All right,
Jen.
Lisa.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
So I'm all over the place today. I'm actually at my mom's house because my air conditioner is broken, and it's been an ongoing on again, off again thing for a while, and I'm fighting with home warranty and blah, 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 and my kids are scattered around here. So, but I've known Jen for a long time, and I knew this would be a great presentation. I work, I'm a senior media buyer and planner for FireSpring, and so I do all things media, just like Ginny. I feel like you have on one hand the clients who just kind of tell you what they want and you go. And then you have the other clients who are more open-minded and more open to how you want to solve problems for them. So I probably prefer that side of things, but definitely want to learn how to ask better questions instead of, I feel like I'm usually in a rush to get something done. So the tendency to just, I got to get this done for you, versus taking the time to really make sure I understand what the problems are. I can learn a lot in that area.
Fantastic. Thank you. We'll give Anne a pass until she jumps back on. Uh-oh, Annie just popped in and has no idea what's going on.
Yeah, all good. We'll have her just catch up then.
Annie, are you able to do audio video?
Yes. Hi.
Look at you. Hello,
Sorry,
hello. All right, so the fast forwarded nitty gritty is 3 statements, 30 seconds or less. Basically, I want to know your role in business and the clients that you serve and why you're here.
Awesome. I work at Bozell. It's an advertising marketing firm in Omaha. I am an account exec, and my main client is First National Bank of Omaha.
Fantastic. All right. Anybody else that we're missing other than Anne?
Okay. I think we're good, and she'll let us know when she's back on. But
all right, we'll make sure and ping Anne back into the conversation. All right, give me a sec to share my screen. Thank you for being bold and being able to share what you do. I know it's not always easy to just toss yourself out there. The good thing is I think a lot of you aren't super strangers to each other, so hopefully there is a comfort factor there. All right, so there will be one lucky winner. Yay! And by winner, I mean you're going to be the primary participant in today's festivities. I would like to select someone, and we are going to identify an industry, pick a problem, and select a solution. And then that is going to be our feature client for today's conversation. So we basically are going to run some mock role play without it really being role play, kind of in the moment coaching, let's say. And so one lucky winner, I'm thinking about all the people that are in this room have some sort of tie to a media or a marketing product or solution, and you're sitting in that service position or the sales position, but all of you guys are ideators. Would that be an accurate statement, that you're all bringing ideas to the table? And so I'm thinking, Daryl, are you up for being our one lucky winner?
Yes, I can be.
You can be. All right. So Daryl, here's what I would like for you to do is based on, let's talk about a client that you want, not a client that you have, a client that you want. Maybe you've already connected in some capacity. Maybe you're attempting to get FaceTime with them, or you have upcoming FaceTime with them. Okay. So tell me that industry. What do you think that might be?
Education.
Education. Fantastic. All right. Now, who is that named client? Will you share the named client, or do you want to use a fake name?
I would prefer to use a fake name.
All right. So fake name. Give me a fake name client.
Um,
And it can be a similar complementing industry, a complementing company to the industry that you're in if you want to protect confidentiality.
Privatized education.
All right, privatized education. And how about I fill in the blanks? Private education, parochial, preschool through 8th grade. Does that sound good? Or would you like it to be private college?
Private high school or private college prep.
All right, fantastic. So I'm thinking like Des Moines Christian, Dowling Catholic. All right, so you are going to be Dowling, the client is going to be Dowling Catholic schools. All right, I would like for you to pick a problem that Dowling Catholic School has, and then tell me the solution that you feel Clark Creative could provide. Now, again, these are all assumptions. Okay, you don't have these answers yet. What problem does Dowling have, and what solution do you have?
The biggest problem that we have found is one, perception. Probably one of the main objectives. Second is budgetary constraints for the amount of marketing they have. And then the third would be a split between marketing and foundation, and them both kind of being their own boats when it comes to creating material.
Fantastic. It reminds me of the presentation that David is familiar with, was a presentation I did on the sales and marketing divide and the fight between those two departments and how they have similar roles and goals. They just have different tactics to get there, but yet they so often fight, even though they're doing the same damn thing. So they're doing the same thing. They're just fighting over budget and mind share of the customer. And oftentimes they're fighting with their own internal leadership team for the culture direction of the organization. Would you find that accurate?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. We have a problem. What solution, knowing that this is not a current client, what solution would you have on the radar? And it doesn't have to be fully fleshed out. It can be very generic. And by
The
solution,
back step in my order
yep.
here. First, we're looking at budgetary constraints
Mm-hmm.
and their list of deliverables. The first thing we're trying to do is to take a look at that and find a way to break down the components into manageable budgets. So they can look at it as a whole, or they can look at it as components, which we are also prioritizing. If they were to go piece by piece in the elements that they would need and need probably the soonest.
Fantastic. All right. So that sounds like strategy, right? So very strategy focused with your marketing solutions and juggling all the balls in between, right?
Correct.
And then once you have your marketing and strategy solution, it then goes into messaging and tactical deliverables of what we say, where we say it, who we say it to, which is the perception problem that private education is too costly and it's just for the people with their nose in the air.
Correct.
All right, great. All right, so we have an industry, we have a problem, we have a potential solution. Is everybody else, take yourself off mute, on board with that?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. So you're here because decent discovery is everybody's responsibility. You don't have to have sales in your title. You don't have to be a business development sales driver to have a chance to communicate and question the client. So we need to understand what kind of questions will help drive revenue for our company, regardless of if it's pre-sale, mid-sale, or post-sale. There are a ton of companies that I work with that have the distinct problem of only pouring into the sales team that pushes revenue into the funnel. And then once account management or creative services get involved, they're not equipping those teams to recognize upsell opportunities or even potential business loss warning signs, and to be able to continually question and challenge the customer to what is the next level of engagement. All right, so that's why we are here today. So, can everybody see me and the screen?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I wish I had a Tootsie Roll Pop, but my kid ate the last Tootsie Roll Pop, so 2,624 licks to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Pop. Or you can bite right to the center until you get to that tasty Tootsie Roll treat. Now, the question that I want you to ponder is your product or service or your actions for your organization the licks that it takes to get to the center, or are you the tasty Tootsie Roll treat hidden inside? And you don't have to just lick your way to the center. You can take a huge chunk and bite right to the center of the tasty Tootsie Roll treat. So it's also possible that you could be the candy crazy kid who just wants to get to the treat inside. So be thinking about that. So in sales, I feel that there are 5 core sales functions, steps along the way, and I'm going to put myself in the buyer's position, okay? So this is what it feels like to interact with the buyer. Step 1, identify and qualify, otherwise known as prospecting. And if you don't know what your magic client is and how to powerfully prospect, you will put unqualified leads in the funnel and waste a heck of a lot of time. There's seek and secure, which is the persistence to get face time with your prospect. Today, we're going to drill down into the connect and consult component of sales. Then there's everything that happens propose to close, and they are in one sales stage for me, because what you propose and why you propose is everything that it's going to take to get them to close. And then Renew, retain, rinse, and repeat is the goal. So let's talk about consultation, otherwise known as discovery, which is where we're at today. Now, for a salesperson or anybody who has interaction with a client with the intent to drive revenue, has several questions that automatically pop into their head. They have an assumption. Daryl has an assumption about the private college industry, or he's made an observation, which he could have made an observation based on his knowledge of the industry, what he watches in the news, other clients and issues that he's experienced, but he might also be preparing a prediction of what's going to be in this client's future based on his expertise. There might be some missing unknowns. That means he wants to visit with the client to learn, or he just simply wants to learn more, different product, different industry. But a marketing team, and I will add media into this mix, since there's a lot of media buyers, planners, and strategists in the room. Y'all, you're responsible to be a messaging resource. You are there to support their sales story, and in some instances, help them prepare it. You are essential in producing materials that salespeople are actually going to want to use. I know it may be no surprise to you, but salespeople have been known to go rogue. Did anybody just gasp on the other side of the computer? I know that because I am one and I've done it. And I didn't have the luxury of a marketing department in my back pocket. So I created a lot of those materials myself, and I wasted a lot of time in doing so. I will also tell you that sales enablement is kind of a dirty word, because if you don't actually sit side seat with salespeople, if you don't ask salespeople what they are actually using in the field for your marketing materials, you will be shocked at how much they don't touch what you put your time and talents in. And then you're there to analyze and assist. So marketing and media, you're there to dig into the Nielsen data. You're doing all the analytics reporting to understand why the recommendations for sales are going to be the most powerful. All right, so there are what I affectionately call the top 10 takeaways that happen to get a client to close. In the discovery process, you need to find a need, goal. The client actually may have asked for FaceTime, so they could have requested something specific from you. You could be in that meeting and spit out a recommendation. You're going to want to know the hurdles. Hurdles are actually external, okay? Concerns, internal. Hurdles happen to them, concerns affect them personally and emotionally. You're going to want to know what happened in the past. You're going to want to know the potential. You're also going to want to know timing and urgency. Now, let me explain that timing and urgency are not the same thing. The difference is, if you think like a client, their desire in having a meeting with you, their desire in taking the time to answer your questions looks like this. They don't want a need, they want a solution. You're getting to the goal, they care about the outcome. They've requested something from you because something is inherently missing. And if you are going to recommend anything, if anything's going to come out of your mouth, it better be tied to the value that the client cares about, not about you being on the bottom line. Hold on here, where were we? Hurdle, all about whether you can help, okay? Concerns, can you support them through the emotions that they're feeling? The past is their perspective. And honestly, there may be other perspectives that you need to consider. The potential is everything about the vision that you can bring to the table. Timing is really logistics, but urgency, that is, can you be responsive? Can you react and be exactly what I need you to be when I need you to be it, which is like yesterday. All right. Is everybody tracking with me? All right, now it stopped my screen share so that I could look at your pretty faces again. All right, Daryl, you and I, we're gonna go back and forth quite a bit, but we're gonna address each of those 10 stops along the sales journey together. And every time we address one at a time, I'm gonna want 2 assistants to assist you in kind of working through it. Sound good? So I am going to basically go in the same order that we did the intros, based on where you are in the lineup. So to the right of Daryl is Jenna and David. Okay, so you two are going to sit and observe step 1. Okay, takeaway 1. And Aaron and Annie, just be prepared. You're going to be step 2, but you're not on right away. So listen and learn. All right, ladies? All right, Jenna and David, you're going to hang out. You're going to offer your comments after I ask Daryl his opinion first. Are we all cool with the rules? All right, then I'm going to go back to sharing so that Daryl has all the cheat sheets he can possibly handle. Deal, Daryl?
Yep.
All right. So let's talk about needs. Needs are perhaps a problem that needs addressed. You need to identify an issue. You need to get to the pain that is preventing profits. You need to figure out which elements are missing, or perhaps there's a positive spin to their need. It could be a dream or desire that they're looking for with their company. Now let's flip it. From a client's perspective, do you know what they care about? They don't care about the problem, they care about the fix. The issues that are identified, the only thing that they want is what's the answer. The pain is the treatment. What's missing, they want you to find it. And if it's a dream or desire, they want you to help paint the picture and get you to a place where that dream becomes reality. So Daryl, let's talk about Dowling Catholic High School, private education prep. If you were to pick that need, right? Their need is for strategies to help be more budget efficient and fix some of their perception problems, okay? What questions do you think you could ask to get the client to admit that and confirm that assumption is accurate?
I would probably do a dive into their enrollment.
Okay.
And look at those numbers for the past years and see where those rises and drops are.
Okay, so you're going to want to come to the conversation with some proof points.
Yep.
Okay. And would you do that the first time you talk to a client, or is that in response to a conversation?
I would be prepared.
Okay.
And depending how the conversation was being led, whether I save that for future or later.
All right, so I assume that you're not just going to walk into the room and slap your data on the table. What question do you think you would need to ask to get them to a place to admit that their enrollment has had some concerning statistics that you can support with your data? What gets them to admit it?
Once again, that would come to perception, and that would be diving into any PR surrounding them, media bits, articles, small focus groups.
Mm-hmm. All right, I know what I want to say, but we are going to go to the peanut gallery, right? So it is David and Aaron. Was that right?
Jenna.
David and Jenna. All right, David and Jenna. I'd like you to pop in and tell me if there's a particular question that you feel would get the client to reveal that they've got some perception problems and some needs to address enrollment.
Yeah, I mean, I like that Daryl's already going to bring notes the data. It's always good to know the answers before you ask the questions, but I think this one's pretty straightforward. You can say, what's your enrollment trend? How's that going? How was enrollment 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3, 2, 1, and see if that aligns with what it is. And if you already know that is going down, then you already have identified, like, okay, so why do we think that's going down? And then it leads to the fact that there's been media stories that have provided that perception issue and et cetera there. So yeah. I like that he's already bringing the answer. He already has the answers to this particular one to get them to open up. I think you can be very pointed in your answer.
I'd add to that too.
Yes, Jenna.
I think it'd be interesting to know or be able to talk to if there's any new schools within the area that have added to specific programming, if they have specific competition that we need to keep in mind if we're bringing any recommendations to the table. Again, I think Daryl's on the right path. If you can infer that based off of specific press, or if you know within the community that is recent openings, whether it's you know, they're better at competing with sports or just their programming itself.
You bet. All right, Daryl. So here's a thought. I love the idea of referencing and drilling down in trends to get them to admit that the trends are not in their favor. I also love Jenna's comment about competitors, almost getting them to admit that some of their problems could be that they're losing enrollment to other people that have done a better job at getting those deliverables and the messaging accurate. And something I would, if you really want to use some of the things that you've seen in the media, heard in the media, read in the media, you can either reference I recently read and saw this is something that is affecting other clients in our circle of influence, someone else that I'm working with, I heard. So reference someone external of them. It takes the I'm wrong and broken feeling off the table for you to point out something that's wrong because you're referencing somebody else. And then turn around and say something like, have you been seeing this in your own organization? And then you can also follow up with saying, how do you feel that the PR and media is working either in your favor or not in your favor? And allow them to give you both the positive and the negative simultaneously.
It's great.
All right, moving on. I'd have to stop sharing my screen, I think, to see all your pretty faces again. So who are the next two people? Pick two, any two. Daryl, you can pick them if you want.
I think you said Annie and Aaron.
Yep.
Annie and Aaron. Okay. Got it. Annie and Aaron, you ladies are sitting in the wings. Daryl, he's the pressure seat. He has to go first, regardless. All right. Thank you very much, David and Jenna. Number 2, goal. Now, here's the thing about goals. You know where you want to take them, but you need to understand from the client's perspective, are these attainable expectations? Is this trackable data or a story that is capturable? Results-oriented, which sounds like a no-brainer, but honestly, unless you spoon feed them what results they need to see, usually results-oriented is ignored. Is anybody nodding their head even though I can't see your heads? Okay. Then there's focused or shared responsibility with that goal. This is sometimes that departmental divide, or even if it's a goal on one particular person's head in sales. I was always responsible for one goal, but it was part of a larger whole. Then there's, is this an existing or a new project? Okay, so have you approached something like involving a strategist to attack your perception problems in the past? Have you worked with marketing firms? You can kind of double dip a little bit there. Now, I'll flip the coin for you, Daryl, because from a client's perspective, the attainable expectations is more about, are you going to perform on the promise? Okay, and the trackable data is that proof point that you want to lay on the table. You want to be able to show them the data that you can actionably attack. Results oriented, all they care about is, are you reliable? Can I rely on you to get me where I want to go? Focused or shared, they just need to know, where does the accountability ball fall? Okay, Is that on one person's head, a department's head? Is that budget driven? Is that totally based on the P&L? And then existing or new project is really projections. How do I plan better? How do I look to the future with your new thing in the mix? All right, so Daryl, back in the hot seat. What outcome would you like to deliver? Let's reverse engineer this.
From my standpoint, that would be creating a new it'd be updating and creating kind of a new brand story, I guess I would say.
Okay.
That's really kind of a little bit deep. It's just more about refreshing and reimagining their outward face.
All right. So let's think about what question that you might need to ask to figure out how you could prove that your new brand story would do what you say it's going to do. Okay. Think about, is it attainable, trackable, results oriented? Let's say you throw new brand story out on the table as your pitch. Okay. How are they going to know that that goal did what you said it was going to do?
I guess that's kind of a hard question to answer, because you would almost have to look at that after implementation.
What would you recommend that they do?
By, putting a new image and story in place out in media, whether it be digital or whatnot, we would be able to see if that's gaining any traction, KPIs. But also, I think it would be looking at open house events, testing events, and that those would be kind of the early risers to see if that new focus is gathering interest among parents and teens, and getting them to at least inquire for more information. Then of course that's getting them into the internal sales and marketing, and then getting those inquiries either into testing, and of course ultimate goal would be registration.
So I'm going to challenge you a little that we want to ask a question to get the client to reveal what KPIs are going to get them where they want to go, or to get the client to reveal they don't have any KPIs and they need you to tell them what KPIs they need to pay attention to. So let's go to Erin and Annie, right? You were the two ladies in the background.
Yes.
What question do you think would get a client to start sharing what KPIs, results, goals look like?
I think so. So we're saying that the problem, it's a perception problem.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's identifying how they know it's a perception problem first. I'm not giving you an exact question, but I think it's identifying how they know there's a perception problem. If they already did a perception study initially, then it's doing a secondary perception study afterwards to identify if any of those markers have moved. I also think it comes down to when you're selling in your idea of the brand story, just making sure it's under the air of, you know, authentic and just kind of guided by what's authentic to their mission, but also, you know, we all have to do our research and interviews or however you go about doing those things to identify what people want, and then the perception, you know, if you're building towards that perception, but it's also something that's authentic, it should be moving the marker. But I think brand is so hard and perception is so hard because you have to have some sort of benchmark to understand what the perception problem was first. So,
well, and the benchmarks are what you're asking. You need to get to the client to reveal those benchmarks or lack thereof. So you can ask a question like, have you ever conducted a perception survey? And maybe perception is too powerful of a word and makes them feel like that's more of a word you would use, right? Has there been an interest group that had some actionable data for you? Or have you always done an interest group and then no action was taken? Okay, so there is a way to say, well, what we do as an organization is not only put the recommendations in place, but help you get to the outcome. And then you tell them what the outcome is. Like if you can't give them a good enough question to reveal it and they dance around, then you can make a statement of the outcome that you're predicting. That's the predict a future statement. All right, so we are going to run out of time if we don't continue to fast forward. So was that Aaron or Annie?
it was Aaron.
Okay, Annie, you're on for number 3. All right, Daryl. Let's say that they've requested a meeting with you, okay? They've asked for a particular product or service or some sort of information. You've met with them once, they've asked for some additional steps to take, maybe some intros to other team members or someone in your network. Is there an idea, solution, or suggestion that they've pinged you for? Did they ask you for some research to help support their next decision? Okay, so they've requested something of you, but ultimately this is what they care about. They care about, I am missing options. I am missing a plan. I am missing access to somebody or something. I just want people to brainstorm with me and I need to be educated moving forward. So this is a little less about the question that you'll ask, Daryl, to get them to reveal this, because you probably already know what it is. I'm going to kind of give you the answer a little bit, because this is more, why am I here? If they requested it of you, because you want to know the backstory. Perhaps they've requested 100% the wrong thing, right? Maybe they've just asked for you to do a brand refresh. And you're like, refreshing your current brand isn't going to help any of your perception problems, but you don't want to point a finger at the perception problem just yet. Tell me why you're at the stage of a brand refresh. When's the last time you did a brand refresh? What was it like when you built your brand the first time or the last time? And get them to give you the backdrop of what it felt like the last time they went through this, so that you know what you're up against. How does that sound?
It's good. I was actually lucky enough that they contacted me, and told me that that's what they wanted. They wanted to go to much more personal, much more authentic, and a much more lively representation of their school.
All right. Something to think about is you may find more under the covers. And so I want you to keep thinking about addressing their request and balancing that with what you might recommend. So stay in the queue, Annie. We're moving on to number 4. Recommending might be, and it might come out in this first meeting, it might come up in follow-up communication or conversation, but it might be specific to a certain product or service that you feel would be a fit. It might be steps. You might spit it out in this meeting. Here's some steps I think you need to succeed. You're not even closing. You're not even pitching. These are people you need to meet. And if you can't help at that point, you better be introducing them to someone in your network regardless. Anybody in sales, anybody. If you can't fix it before the end of that meeting, you better open up your digital Rolodex and link up your prospect with someone else that can do what you can't do. That also applies to if you can only do a piece of the puzzle. I would run media strategy and marketing for clients and buy 6 different media outlets other than my own because it was good for the client. And I would strategize the entire placement of things that were, in essence, my competitors. All right. This is when you can start talking about investments. Did anybody notice that the the top 10 takeaways had nothing to do with budget? And you should not be asking questions specifically to say, well, how much budget do you have to do that thing? Your goal is to get them to an intent to invest. And so you can throw ranges out there. So you can say, hey, Mr. Client, you asked for me to look at your brand. Well, I'm going to tell you that to refresh your brand is a $15,000 investment, and to do a whole brand story is a $50,000 investment. But there is so much in the middle that we don't know yet. And then see how they respond and react to your first range. Just a temperature taking way to throw investment out. You might spit out suggestions or considerations along the way, but ultimately that consideration could be positive or negative. You need to consider what would happen if you don't do anything. You need to consider what would happen if the path we take gets all tied up in internal ick between your 2 departments, and how that could take your eye off the prize, right? So you're almost giving them objection handling in the middle of the sales process. But ultimately, your job, Daryl, is value, 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 value. Okay? If you're ever going to make a statement and make a recommendation to the client, regardless of if it's your first discovery call or your 5th discovery meeting, why is first. Not what your product does, why the client needs it. Okay? So you said this, so I'm suggesting this because it'll get you here. How are we going to do that? Here's some steps. Who might help us? Here's the people. How do you need to plan for that investment if it's not currently in your budget? When should you make these moves? And then what considerations you need to think about. And you can use all of these or just a handful of these in early prospecting discovery meetings to try to get the client to self-identify their own bleeding wounds. Okay? All right, we're going to move on and save Annie for, this is more question specific. So for hurdles, remember, are external. Other people, could be the position that person holds, the power that they wield, or their personality. Could be process, which is either non-existent, complicated, or subpar, I should add. Internal roadblocks, external influences, and you ultimately need to know if these hurdles are overcomable. Yes or no? And here's the deal. I'm covering so much stuff. There is absolutely no possible way in the world that you can do this in one meeting. If you think you can and you put a proposal in front of your client after one meeting, you are doing everyone a disservice, including yourself. Okay, you always hold your proposals like gold. The proposals are basically the roadmap to contract a commitment together, and you should not go there prematurely. Premature proposal elation. Never mind, moving on. Hurdles are how you can help. What ammo can you give when they interact with those people? How simple can you make the process? What support can you give? And that might be data analytics, other reporting to their internal roadblocks. Internal roadblocks is probably that departmental divide. External influence, can you remove those? That might be more of that competitive component. Who's stealing enrollment, like Jenna mentioned. And then is it overcomable? All they care about is this possible? All right, so I should go back. What question do you feel you could ask to get them to reveal some kind of hurdle? Because there is always one. And maybe the departmental divide is the one you know about. So why don't you try to prepare a question to get the client to admit that you may know it already, but to get into the nitty gritty about it.
Me.
I think one question you could ask is, are there any other stakeholders involved? Any other people that we need to bring to this, bring into these meetings?
Annie, what do you think?
I think, especially in this case, it's kind of unfair because I came from education, but.
Yay, Daryl's gonna want to talk to you when this is all done.
But I think when working with people, especially in education, asking more questions that are less pointed, like what are your challenges? No, asking about how do your departments get along? How do they work together? What are your systems like? Do they accomplish what you need them to? Do they take a lot of time to learn and or implement? Do people use them because of their challenges? Just getting, and then that's a little bit more discovery process still, is just figuring out how they're all interacting through relationships with people and technology.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you're gonna find like your real recommendations, or where people are gonna be more honest with you.
The other thing, Daryl, is you always want to go 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 layers deep. So in Annie's comments, she had like 3 or 4 questions that have so much history, and you're going to get to what I call unicorn questions. There are unicorn questions that give you like 5 of the 10 categories, and you're like, whoa, hallelujah, that was so much insight. And so ultimately you want to ask, if I remove this roadblock that you just told me about, what does that look like? You may not be the one removing the roadblock, but you need to get them sort of thinking and talking. And so those are some things to consider. All right, some people jumped off and David's moderating. So who's left in the room when we move on to number 6? Who's left in the room? Ginny, is Ginny still here?
Yep, we got.
What's that?
Ginny is here, yep.
All right, Ginny, you want to be sitting in the wings? All right.
Yep, I will.
Daryl, for concerns, this is the inner anxiety, okay? Personal triggers, professional hesitations. What are their current experiences? Is this anticipated or actual anxiety and stress? Or is it anxiety and stress for something that hasn't happened and they're just unnecessarily anticipating angst? And is it overcomeable? You're there for support. Personal concerns and all the feelings and all the inner workings that can affect people, okay, is something that you can't do much for. You can help them get to a place of peace of mind. You can help them get some confidence. Ultimately, empathy, which we're currently facing in the pandemic, is a fantastic approach. Strength, so that they can ride out some of that anxiety and stress, and then help them see what's possible. And in an essence of time, we're going to keep moving. Number 7, the past. Past people, past partnerships, past agencies, past everything. What has it been like between these 2 departments now that you know about that problem? I think I already mentioned it, the past brand development process. When I work with web dev firms, nobody builds a website without a bucket ton of headache. And so admitting that and asking what it looked like the last time that they built a website, so that you can try to preempt some of those roadblocks. You want to know past success stories, the failures they've experienced, the lessons that they've learned, and the actions that they've taken. And this is because their perspective is they're immediately comparing you to all the people and different experiences that they've already had, regardless of if you recognize it or not, okay? They want to know, is your approach new, different, unique, better? And they want to brag a little bit. Allow them to brag. It's not about you bragging. And then anything that they failed, they need to get to a point of perseverance, even if they're not persevering yet, and you're the one that can help them persevere. And if they've learned lessons, you need to figure out if they're humble, yes or no. That isn't always humble as a good thing. It could be lack of being humble, because how you sell to close, how you propose even, is going to be structured on whether they have humble approaches to learned lessons, and if they've taken actions that they're feeling positive pride, or if they're prideful and arrogant. Any situations, Daryl, where you've worked with prideful and arrogant clients?
No, not really.
Never. I won't ask that question any deeper. All right, Annie, why don't you see if there's a question that you might ask to get this Dowling Catholic School to reveal some stuff that would help you close the new brand story. Oh wait, we just did Annie. I was Ginny. Ginny. It's you, Ginny.
I don't. Perhaps it would be more of, if you're concerned about or want to know more about their success failures, you could have you tried something that you weren't happy with the results, or tell me what you were happy with, so you can kind of learn what they've done in the past and kind of what their thoughts are for the future, and then take those and kind of shape them more to kind of get your point of what you want to move forward with.
What are some of the things that you did that you wish you never did and that you will never repeat again?
Right.
What are some of the things that you did that only worked a little bit and not a lot, so that you can figure out what your fit is? And a lot of this, you guys, is deciding how to propose a client. And understanding some of those things is either going to deepen your recommendation or change how you're going to pitch it. All right, I'm going to keep going for time purposes. All right, potential. This is when you can get into competitive landscape, okay? You want to know, are they innovators? Do they want to expand or contract? And you also want to know if the potential for the future is realistic. And let's flip that coin. This is all about vision in the customer's mind, okay? Now we're talking about education, and education is people, but it's also money and market share. So anything competitive is all about market share, and anything innovation usually is, I want to be the leader in this industry, or steal some of the leaders' market share. Expansion, they care about growth. Contraction, efficiency, to keep it positive. And realistic expectations, you want to inspire confidence that they can get to their goals. All right, number 9, timing. This is where we get to talk about the difference between timing and urgency. This is a pretty fast category, right? The only reason you're going to question timing in the early onset, Daryl, is you need to know how fast you need to react. All right? Is this a seasonal window, short-term solution, or a big fat long-term strategy?
Yep.
And do they have expectations for the proposal requirements?
Yep.
Big question. Anybody who's done a state RFP who wants to shoot themselves in the head, it takes them a week to review the RFP, let alone the month sometimes to prepare, and half the time you have so many unanswered questions. And if you go back to your office and plunk out a proposal and you think you need 2 weeks to do it, and they wanted to give you 2 days, and you're like, never, no way, you need to know some of those expectations for timing so that you can back them into a reasonable start date, right? You can't rebuild a brand in a week. Like, even if your entire team was working 24/7, 7 people deep. So you need to set up that scenario, because all a client cares about is, these are the factors of my business. I need an influx right now. I need the stability with this long-term plan, and my expectations are so that I can be prepared. Just help me feel prepared. And if I've got a reasonable start date, great, but usually they don't, right? They are uber impatient. And so the only way to get a client out of impatience is to understand why they're impatient. Goes back to hurdle concern. They're impatient. They're going to look bad. They're going to miss a window. They're going to miss enrollment. They're going to have a decline. It's just all going to be bad, 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 which is usually a concern that they screwed up, they messed up, they didn't plan appropriately, right? Do you see the hurdle concern balance? And you want them to kind of see that. All right, number 10. I affectionately call this the Discovery T10, by the way, and you guys will get a PDF of this information, so you're welcome to reference it. This is also a very fast-forwarded version of a workshop that I do with clients and customers, and I'm happy to offer a free consultation to anybody that is in this call. If you want to do this one-on-one with an actual real client confidentially, I'll give you an hour of my time for free. Deal? All right, number 10, urgency. You need to know the decision-making process. You need to know if there's procurement problems along the way. But ultimately, this is the biggie, big, big, big of urgency. Are they change willing or are they change averse? Adaptive or antagonistic? And is this a true immediacy to launch or impatience? Because honestly, I would bet, Daryl, if someone said, I got $100,000 in a new brand story in a week, find the contractors and do it, you probably would. You would be like, oh, holy hell, I don't know how we're going to do this. But you know what? I will set proper expectations and I will chase as hard as I possibly can if we've got a week to do it, right? Usually, immediacy issues are tied around perception problems that might be in the media, right? And you're going to have some of those like emergency preparedness plan type stuff that's going to be very, very, very fast to flip. Not a brand. I was totally joking. From a client's perspective, urgency is that you are accurate, available, that you are going to be there to give them assurances for anything that they might be antagonistic about, and that you are actionable, that you are Johnny on the spot with action and immediate action. And so really, you can ask questions to figure out if they're change willing or change averse, and you might have a sense, but tell me what the decision-making process looks like, and then tell me if you like it or don't like it. Has there ever been a situation where you wanted to do a project and it didn't happen? What were the complications? Are they change willing? Are you slow to make a decision? Do you seek several outside sources? Like, are they the analytical type, right? They might be change averse mostly because they need to feel super confident. This is when you ask those questions. How are you feeling, Daryl? Is your head going to explode? It's all stuff you know, right? It's all stuff you know. So here's the deal. You're here today because you want to be able to provide a solution to your customers with an outcome that they care about, to fix something that is missing with the value that you know you have to offer. You are there to help and support them while you process their perspective, drive them towards the vision that they want to go, deal with the logistics, and respond to every request along the way. And ultimately, you put all 10 of those things together and you get yourself to the center of the Tootsie Roll, because the tasty Tootsie Roll treat is what you know you can fix for your clients. And ultimately, it takes a lot of licks to get to the center of that Tootsie Roll, I promise. And that's a lot of questions and a lot of discovery. But if you do it right, what's in the middle matters most. That's all that I have to say. I probably have 3 minutes to spare. I apologize that we cut it so close. I will open it up to questions and answers, and I should share that I made this statistic up about the Tootsie Roll, so do not go and Google that and do not use it for anybody else's purposes, because it's a complete and total utter lie. All right.
Jen, I have to jump off. This is fantastic. I will probably be contacting you for a follow-up.
You bet. All right. Sorry I cut it so
See you,
close.
everybody.
Thanks, Daryl. Any other questions from the peanut gallery for people that aren't bouncing right up until a 1:30?
hold off for that. I just, for those that are do have to join, take off at 1:30. Jen, I want to say publicly thank you. This is a great repeatable framework, I think, for everyone, and we will send this out to everyone. Real quick, 8:30 a.m. Tuesday, August 4th, we have our next webinar, Getting the Most from LinkedIn. So this is someone from LinkedIn, so we're happy to have him on the call for that. And then go to the website for more updates from AAF Omaha, or watch your emails for the updates that we've got coming up. Other than that, if you have to go, we certainly understand. However, you have a minute to stick around. Jennifer is here to answer any questions.
You bet.
Thank you, everyone.
I got wiggle room. If you have time, I have time till David kicks me off.
Well, this is Terry, I can keep this platform open for you. So if anybody wants to ask any questions, we're here.